All right, good evening, good evening. Welcome to a new weekly Wednesday webinar. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you for being here with us. We know that life is busy. Life is life. And lately, I feel like there's not enough hours in the day to get things accomplished. But hey, you took the time to be here with us with your USSFCU family. So thank you so much for that. My name is Eddie Villanueva, and we're going to go over an amazing topic this evening. Let me ask your panelist team. If I ask you, you don't have to answer, but if I ask you, how much how much cash do you have in your wallet? I don't know if you're gonna be like me or not, but if I show you my wallet, I have $0. And you know why that is? Because we live in the digital era. You can tap, you can transfer, you can pay so many ways. You can transfer money in different, ways that it's more efficient for you. So we're gonna go over all those things that as you can see on the screen, digital wallets and payments. What to know before you tap, send, or pay. So thank you so much again for joining us. We appreciate you. We love engagement. Somebody got $40. All right. Better safe than sorry. Some places only take cash. So I might definitely take that advice. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you are, you just want to say hi, please make sure that you use the chat feature or the Q&A. And then Ms. Jornica, what are we going to do with all those comments and questions that we received this evening?
We are going to make sure we answer each and every question at the end of our amazing presentation today.
All right. Thank you so much, Jornica. You heard it. We're going to interact with you all. We're going to answer all those questions. And as Andrea always emphasized, if we don't have the answer for you right away, what's going to happen, Andrea?
You'll get an email from us with the answer.
All right, you know it. And I see a lot of comments coming in. Some people have 40, some of them have 60, somebody said 100. So, wow, you are more responsible than I am when it comes to, having the cash. So, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think I saw Kenya, put in the comments. So, shout outs to you, Kenya. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you. So, like I said, we're going to go over the digital wallet. If you owe money to somebody or if you transfer money to them, or nowadays, you don't even need a debit card. All you need is your phone, you tap, and you're good to go. So we're going to go all over those things that you can use with your digital wallet. But, thank you so much once again for being here with us. My time is due, so I'm going to pass it on to our Membership Development Officer, Mr. Milton Aguilar Bolanos, with the official introductions. Sir, the time is for you to shine.
All right, Eddie, thank you so much. And I didn't type my in, but I always keep one Benjamin in my wallet just in case. It's something that my parents taught me. What happens if the system don't work? What happens if you need gas and cars are not working? What are you gonna do? So, $100, and I think somebody else wrote that in there too. So, it's just me. I started doing that ever since I left my parents' house because my dad always told me I'd have at least $100. So I'm still using that, believe it or not. And I'm probably gonna share that with my daughters when they get older as well too, just in case. Or even though, like you were saying, the way how banking is going and how we do payments and stuff, it's almost banking is becoming invisible, and it truly is. So, but again, like Eddie stated, we are so grateful that you all made time for us this evening. This is and I say this every time, but I feel like they are like we have an amazing presentation for you all. A topic that I'm sure everyone on this call can relate, and that is the digital wallets and payments. What to know before you tap, send, or pay anyone. Like Eddie stated, my name is Milton. I'm the membership development officer here for the United States Senate Federal Credit Union. And with us today, we have your familiar faces, the panel that you see pretty much almost every Wednesday, with the exception of Ken Fridley, who is off tonight, but she will be back next week. But with us again, you already heard his voice. He's the official MC of the credit union. I like to say, besides the MC, he's also the face of the credit union, and that is Mr. Eddie Villanueva. And you know what? I say her name, and I see she is actually on the attendee list. Ms. Fridley, thank you for being with us. We so appreciate you. And by the way, she just came back from a little bit of, I want to say about 2 week vacation, so we definitely missed her. Um, but again, back to the panelists. Without any particular order, again, we have Miss Andrea Londono, who, as many of you know, she is the person that is going to read all your questions towards the end of the presentation. And it is our commitment, like Eddie stated, that we will answer all your questions before we let you go this evening. And again, Andrea is just like Eddie, she belongs to the, I will say, the best marketing team in the US. But I might be a little biased, but that's how I feel. And you can prove me wrong whenever you want. And also from the marketing team, right? We have the person that makes sure that we always look amazing. And when I mean amazing, she really does. And that is Carrie Lazar. She puts all this content that you're all gonna see this evening. So if you have any complaints, please reach out to her boss, but I'm sure there will be none. But that is Carrie Lazar. So Miss Carrie, thank you for all that you do for this amazing weekly Wednesday webinar. Ever since day one, ever since we launched the weekly Wednesday webinar, and this is season 4, right, Eddie? If I'm not mistaken. So I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are almost coming down to the last part of 2026, and next thing you know, we're going to be on season 5. But with that being said, let me not steal any more thunder because definitely I'm so excited to hear her voice and see what she's got for us today. And that is the main presenter of the evening, and none other than Miss Jarnika Trent. She's going to take us onto this wonderful journey. I hope everyone is ready. Please, please, please use the chat feature, the Q&A, and we will be reading your comments and questions at the end of the presentation. So, Miss Trent, take it away.
Thank you so much for that, Milton. As always, the most amazing intro, longest intro that we have. I appreciate you and Eddie. Thank you guys for getting us started. And to everyone else, welcome in. I'm going to jump off of camera so you can focus on our amazing presentation for today. All right, so you guys, as you all know, we are speaking on digital wallets and payments. Thank you again for joining us. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the digital payment tools that many of us use every day. I know a lot of you may have Apple Pay, Cash App. There's a lot of features out there nowadays that we probably didn't have just maybe 10 or so years ago. A lot has changed. You may tap your phone at checkout now, send money through, a special payment app or move funds between accounts, just in a few seconds. So these tools, while they can be convenient, they are not all designed the same and are used for the same purpose. And they do not always offer the same protections. So today, our goal is to make sure that these options are easier for you all to understand so that you can choose the right method, recognize common risks, and use digital payments with more confidence. So, we're going to begin with a quick overview of the things that we are going to cover today. As you guys can see, our lovely agenda. We're going to focus on these 4 main areas that you all see here on your screen. So, the first is going to be, we'll first look at several common ways to pay digitally. That's going to include digital wallets, peer-to-peer payment apps, and even account transfers. We'll explain how each method works and where the money actually is going to come from. We're also going to discuss how to choose the option that best fits your situation, because the fastest or most convenient method is not always the most appropriate method for you. So finally, and last but not least, we're going to cover common risk in payment scams and offer some safe habits that can help protect you and your accounts and your personal information. So by the end of the session today, you guys, you should have a clear understanding of the differences between these tools and what to consider before you actually contemplate making that payment or making that transfer. So let's start with defining what we mean when we say digital payment. Can you guys use the chat when you think of digital payment? What's the first thing that comes to mind for you guys? Drop it in the chat. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And here's a little sneak peek here. So a digital payment is moves money electronically, of course, instead of using that physical cash or a paper check. So if you are out and about, I know if previous, I won't speak how long ago, if you were used to physically pulling out a checkbook and writing down exactly what you wanted to withdraw or pay for, back then, you had to make sure you had a pen, you had to have your checkbook, and even a check register. How many of you remember a check register? Where you had to kind of manually log in everything that you were deducting from your account. A lot of things have changed, obviously, since then, now that we've moved over into this new digital age. So this is a broad definition. So for today's discussion, we're going to focus on, the three common types. So as you guys can see here, the first is going to be the digital wallet. Okay, digital wallets. How many of you know exactly what a digital wallet is? Use the chat. I see things coming in. Thank you guys. The digital wallet allows you to use an eligible payment card through your phone, a smartwatch, or even another compatible device. So if you have, like we stated, that Apple Pay, you have that tap and go, it's very convenient. I myself, I use it a lot. You also have payment apps, often called, have you guys heard of peer-to-peer or P2P apps? Has anyone heard of that before? Peer-to-peer? These are commonly used to send money directly to another person. So I know there's also something out there, Zelle, is another form of transfer of payments. There's a lot of different ones out there. You just have to really make sure you're doing your part to make sure that it's trustworthy. Um, the next one we're going to cover is the third, which is a account transfer. This moves money electronically between your bank accounts or your credit union accounts. It is also important here to understand that the payment method and the funding source are not always the same thing. So, for example, you might use a digital wallet as the payment method, but the money may come from a debit card or even a credit card that could be stored in your wallet, which could be on your smartphone, right? A payment app may be funded by a bank account, a card, or money that is already held that could be in the app. So if you have that Apple Pay and you already have that wallet, you can have different cards stored on there. And then also your Apple Pay may have money that just sits there that you can continue to use. I know with my daughter, I send her Apple Pay, it goes straight to her card and she goes to Sky Zone and jumps forever and pays with her card. So it's very convenient to send money back and forth. But again, you want to make sure that it is safe, right? Now that we've kind of defined what those digital payments are, let's take a closer look at why they're so popular. I kind of already said why, because obviously they're convenient, which is going to be the first thing you guys see here, right? So digital payments have become more popular because they can make everyday financial tasks faster, more convenient, right? So instead of you carrying that cash like we talked about or carrying that old school checkbook, you have to have a pen. You got to search for a pen if you don't have a pen because you got to write down what you need on the check, right? Even visiting a branch, okay? If you guys notice, the younger generation, they don't like to go into the branch physically. Everything is literally online or ATM or just these transfers of digital payments that we're speaking of now. The whole idea is convenience. What is convenient is better served because you save time and it's easier, right? So with that being said, another one here is going to be security, as you guys can see here. While you want to make sure you have the convenience, it has to be secured as well, okay? Because security is a big important factor here. A digital wallet purchase may be approved within seconds, while an external account transfer can take several business days. So you may see those ACH transfers that may take a few days to clear and deposit into the account. Even those peer-to-peer payments may also move a little quicker, but the availability can depend on the service. It can depend on who's receiving the funds and how the payment is going to be funded, okay? All right, and so as we talked a little bit about security, obviously, as you guys see here, the security portion for these may include encryptization, right? You may see something like that or tokenization. Um, in device authentication where you have to kind of do multiple layers of passwords, biometrics, if you see where you have to scan your face now, a lot of apps have, you have to have like a facial scan so they can verify you to make sure that it's you. Even transaction alerts, right? Something that can alert you to let you know that, hey, something is happening. Someone's sending money to you or or you're sending money to someone. They want to make sure that you know what you're doing and that you are comfortable with sending money to someone else because, hey, you might be sending someone money and it could be a scam, right? You don't want to get scammed sending someone money thinking it's okay and it turns out that it's fraudulent. Another benefit of visibility here is the digital transactions, right? Digital transactions create an electronic record that can help you review your account activity. They can also help confirm payments, track your spending there, and identify unfamiliar transactions. Now, alerts can also provide an added layer, like we just talked about, of awareness. So again, make sure that you're paying attention to how you're sending money out, how you are transferring funds. I know I had a member at one time accidentally transfer money to the wrong person entirely. And guess what? Once it's gone, it's really, really, really hard to get back. Once that money is transferred and that person receives it, it could be their lucky day and not yours. So, you want to make sure that you are doing your part to double check whatever you're sending out is the correct person and it's not a scam or fraudulent. So at the same time, obviously convenience and speed, all of these things can create some sort of risk, right? A payment sent to the wrong person, like I just stated, all could be part of a scam. I know if you guys have attended one of our scam webinars in the past, we did one a few weeks ago. Scams are a big deal. You have to make sure you're doing your part. I cannot overemphasize that, you guys. When you are out here and you are transferring money, make sure everything matches, make sure everything is correct, and make sure that you fully verify who the individual is. Okay? So, we're going to move on to digital wallets. So a digital wallet store is eligible, which is a payment card. So I know you guys probably, if you have a smartphone, most of the times you would have a digital wallet on your actual phone, or even if you have a smartwatch or anything like a iPad or something like that. Common examples obviously would be something like an Apple Pay, you guys see here, Google Wallet, even Samsung Wallet. So if you don't have an Apple phone, you may have a Android of some sort. You may have another form of payment on there. So when you add a card to this wallet, the wallet does not necessarily replace the card itself, okay, or the account. What it does is it creates a digital version of that card, which can be used through the actual device. So this is how we do that tap and go, right? That's a cool feature which allows you to use your phone basically as your electronic wallet. The payment is still charged to your debit or to your credit card. It just depends on which option you may select. So digital wallets can be used in several different ways. Like again, you can tap that phone to tap and go or tap your watch, tap and go at any checkout. Usually most places accept it nowadays. I haven't been to a place that except Walmart, just so you guys know in advance. If you're in a Walmart, you cannot. Um, it's very unfortunate, maybe one day, but they do not accept Apple Pay. But again, before a card can be used, the wallet provider, so whomever your card is attached to, they may require you to do a verification process because they want to make sure that it's you that is uploading this electronic card to this specific device. So depending on the device or the service, that could include either a one-time passcode. It could also include a confirmation through your financial institution or another form of identity check. So at checkout, you usually select the card that you want to use to authenticate. You will scan your Face ID, which is a form of biometrics, right? You can also do a fingerprint, or even if you have a code for your device, like a password. The authentication process helps to confirm that, again, you are the person that you say you are and that you're authorizing this payment because, again, everyone has to be protected around the board. It is also useful to understand what a digital wallet does and what it does not do, right? So it does not create a separate balance unless the service offers one, right? So whatever available balance you have in your bank account is what's going to be available on that card that you're using for your digital wallet. You're not going to have extra money just floating out there like you hit the lottery. I wish, but it doesn't work like that. It's going to literally be whatever you have available balance. So keep that in mind. And it does not change the terms of the underlying card. So any interest, any fees, or special rewards that you may have with that particular card generally continues to depend on the card that you select, however you decide to pay. So keep that in mind. A digital wallet can make paying more convenient, of course, but the device itself still needs to be protected. So make sure that you have a strong password, and you have that biometric security option, which is very useful, and the ability to lock or erase the device remotely, are all very important safeguards that you guys want to make sure you have. So next we'll look closer at the security technology digital wallet. So this helps use for help protect us for card information during specific transactions, right? So digital wallets use several layers of security to, help protect your card information and confirm that you are the person making that authorized payment in the first place, right? So one of the most important features here is going to be first tokenization. How many of you have heard of tokenization before? Drop a heart for me. I want to see some hearts if you have. If you have not, it's okay. But if you have, drop a heart. So we're going to explain what tokenization is. So when you add an eligible card to, let's say, a digital wallet, the wallet generally does not use, your actual card number per se, right? So for each purchase, it's not going to have your full account number. It's not going to probably even have the actual account number. Instead, it uses a unique digital credential. So it's going to have a special credential that's going to verify what your card is. And sometimes that's going to be called a token, right? That represents that card on this particular device. So if it's on your phone or on your wallet, on your Apple Watch, or if it's on your iPad, this reduces the amount of actual card information that is going to be shared for during your transaction. So it's actually a wonderful security barrier, so that your personal card number is not shared through the masses. It doesn't get compromised. Okay. All right. Another one. Okay. Let me know if you guys heard this one. Encryption. Encryption. If you've heard of this, let me see a heart. If you heard of encryption. Awesome. All right. Digital wallets also use encryption to help protect information while it is being transmitted between the device. Okay. The payment network, the financial institution, encryption helps prevent payment data from being easily read if it is intercepted for any reason by any I call high level scammers, because there's different variations of scammers and people who have these amazing technology ability to kind of take everyone's information, right? So this is really good to have if you have an encryption. All right, another one, you guys, and authentication. I know you guys probably know this because I feel that we all use it every day, whether it's a work device, whether it's our personal devices. Another layer of is authentication. So before payment is usually completed, the device may require, your Face ID, which, is very useful and convenient if you don't want to actually use your fingers to put in a password. Another is going to be that fingerprint layer, right? Using your finger, your thumb, or your finger to input, or even a password. So if you have a passcode, you can always go the old school passcode way. But I feel like most people are into the biometric of the Face ID. Just scan your face, opens, and it works. This helps to verify that the person holding the device is permitted to use the actual wallet itself. All right. There are also protections available if the device is lost, or stolen. So depending on the device and service, you may be able to lock it remotely, right? So you can erase the contents or disable the access from your wallet. So it's really convenient if you have a lost device in that case. It is also worth remembering that the wallet protects how the payment is actually made, but the terms and protections of the underlying debit or credit card, they still matter, okay? Digital wallets are mainly designed for purchases only. Another common digital payment tool is designed for sending money directly to other people, okay? And this is going to be peer-to-peer payment apps or P2P, okay? Peer-to-peer or P2P payment apps allow people to send and receive money electronically through a mobile app or digital platform. Common examples include, as you guys see here on the screen, you may see PayPal, Venmo, we talked about Cash App, Zelle. Although these services have different features, of course, they are often used for similar purposes, right? Such as paying back a friend. You know, if you guys go to the movies and your friend is going to pay, and you say, hey, I'll Cash App you $20, just pay for both of us. It's very convenient to just be able to either tap their phone or scan their barcode. Different ways now. There's a lot of creative ways how people are transferring money, right? You even, if you're splitting a bill at a restaurant, you can just simply transfer that way. Or if you're doing a gift and you want to contribute in some way, shape, or form, or even send money to a family or friend. These are all convenient ways. The money may come from a linked bank account. It could come from a credit union account or even a debit or credit card. The balances are already stored on that particular app, so that makes it convenient. That funding source, though, can affect how quickly the payment moves. So whether the fees apply, if there's additional fees, that may play a factor. And also what protections may be available could also play a factor into that. Some P2P services move money directly between, financial accounts, while others may hold money in the app until the recipient transfers it to an account. That is why it helps to understand, how the specific service works before you actually use it. Peer-to-peer apps are designed to make, payments fast and obviously simple, but in many cases, the recipient only needs to have just their phone number or email address or even just a username, to identify them. That convenience is also why these apps should generally be used with people you may know, right? And people you trust. Because once the payment is sent and accepted, it's very hard to stop and recover. I told you guys earlier, I had a member who sent money out, a lot of money. And unfortunately, once that money is gone, it's gone. It's hard to track that money and get it back once that person receives it. So, because these payments can move quickly, a few extra checks, obviously, over verifying before you send any money, it can be a huge impact and more meaningful if you actually double check to make sure that, hey, this is the person you're sending to. And honestly, a lot of institutions now, before you send, they have you go through a lot of hoops to double verify to make sure that you're sending this to the right person. You have to almost go through like a disclosure process to say you approve this. So be mindful of that as well. All right, so the first step when using peer-to-peer apps is to verify that the recipient, obviously and trust, hopefully, that you review this carefully, okay? You're going to check their name, okay? You're going to make sure that the phone number and the email address and the username, you can verify all of these things before you send it out. Any small typo, any small thing, account number, one number off could be someone completely different. You'll be surprised, okay? You could send money to the wrong person very easily. It has gotten better, I will say. I think when these apps first came out, it was probably a lot more instances of people transferring money unintentionally to the wrong person, even scams where they request money from you. They had a lot of different things. It has gotten a little better, but at the same time, you still have to do your part and make sure that you are verifying who you're sending money to. It is also a good idea to use P2 peer-to-peer apps primarily with, obviously people you know and trust, but these services are not the best choice for paying, someone who you may be unfamiliar with, right? If someone just calls you up and randomly, or you may run into someone randomly, you don't know who they are, and they ask you to send money. You just never know what instance may take place. Always use the side of caution when something like that happens. These services are often, not the best choice for paying, an unfamiliar seller, or purchasing from someone like online, like Facebook Marketplace is a huge thing, where, a lot of scammers, you're meeting up with people who are selling on Facebook Market, and people are actually getting robbed, by doing so. And so, people ask money up front before, there's different things. You just have to always be vigilant when you're utilizing these. Even sending money via deposit to someone that you don't know, that you haven't verified. All those are just not good ideas. So before completing the payment, always review the amount and the funding source. A credit card, a debit card, or even your bank account or stored balances may result in different fees, obviously, timing and protection. So it could be different fees, it could be no fee, it just really depends. Another point to consider, you guys, is whether to leave money stored on the app itself, right? So, depending on the service and how the account itself is structured, funds can be held in a payment app. They may not have the same protections that money held directly in a insured bank or institution may have, right? Or even a credit union. So moving unused funds to an insured account can reduce that risk. So always be mindful of that. Finally, be cautious or of unexpected requests. I kind of tapped on this a little bit, you guys. Obviously scammers going to be a big thing here. Impersonations happen a lot as well. Someone could impersonate someone you think you know and claim that the money is needed right away, it's needed immediately. Again, if it feels unusual, you don't feel good about it, always do your part and double check, verify, and sometimes it's okay to say no. I don't feel comfortable, because if it is a scam, again, once that money is gone, unfortunately, 99% of the time it's gone for good. So peer-to-peer payments, while they can be convenient, they should be treated more like handing someone physical cash. So just always do your part. The next payment method is going to be more broader and includes several ways to move money between financial accounts. All right, so you guys see here account transfers, which move money electronically. This is a movement of money electronically from one financial institution to another. The term can describe several different types of transactions, so it helps to understand the different distinctions what each one means. So we're going to kind of break it down. So the first one that you guys see is going to be an internal transfer. So the internal transfer is going to move money between accounts at the same financial institution. For example, you may transfer money from your savings account to your checking account. That will be considered an internal transfer. These transfers are often completed very quickly, and because they're connected, both accounts are held in the same place. So it's safer and it's quicker. The next one you guys see here is going to be what we call an external transfer. This is going to move money between accounts at a different financial institution. So if you are here with us at the United States Senate Federal Credit Union and you want to move money to ABC Credit Union, this is what we consider an external transfer. This is commonly used when you own accounts at more than one bank, right, or another credit union, and the accounts may be linked in some way or verified before the transfer can be made. Okay, the next one you guys see here is going to be the ACH transfer. ACH transfer is going to move money through automated clearinghouse, and that's what that ACH stands for, automated clearinghouse network. So the ACH is commonly used for if you have, let's say, direct deposit is one big one. If you have a direct deposit, that's usually considered an ACH transfer. Um, if you have like bill pay, any type of bill payments that you may set up, usually online bill pay, it's going to be a form. Any electronic loan payments would be considered an ACH. And any transfers between, your financial institutions. So these payments are generally processed more like in batches, right? And they may take one or more business days. It just depends on the transaction and whomever the provider is. So one institution may receive the funds quicker than another. So that's something to think about. So a wire transfer is going to be another one here. Wire transfer, this is usually used for, let's say, larger amounts of funds that need to be transferred at one time. Okay. It could be something that is also time sensitive, like a payment for or a deposit down on a home if you're purchasing a new home or real estate closing. Another significant transaction that could be, something very important that you wanted to get there efficiently for a large amount. So wires may be completed obviously the same day, but they often involve a fee. Of course, there's always going to be a fee for that, and they're generally difficult to, reverse after they've sent. So another thing when we do wires, if same thing, almost similar to what we talked about before, you have to make sure that you have the correct information, because you can easily wire someone else a large sum of money if the account number is off by one digit. Once the funds leave the institution, there's no way we can retrieve that. It is gone to, I don't know, I'm going to call it Cyberland, because once it's in Cyberland and it's out there, we have no way of accessing that. And unfortunately, I've also seen that happen where a wire transfer has gone to the wrong individual. So make sure you are doing your part, over verifying as always, because again, um, once it's out there, we cannot stop that. So these transfer methods, while they serve different purposes, the best choice here is going to depend on who's receiving the money, how quickly the money needs to arrive to whomever you're sending it to. And then also you have to always consider what fees may apply around that transfer and whether the transfer can be canceled or not, right? Because most times, if you send it out, that's it. So because account transfers can involve larger dollar amounts and obviously sensitive account information, again, it is very important that you are verifying what you're sending to whomever. Account information, name, all of the information that's needed for that is always going to be very important. All right. So on next to account transfer security. Okay. So before sending an account transfer, you always want to verify that you are sending it obviously to the right person. Make sure that the destination that you're sending it to, you know all these things and you understand clearly. Okay, so for an external ACH transfer, again, you're going to confirm the account number, the routing number, the name associated with the receiving account. And even one incorrect digital number, like I said, could delay or, go to the wrong person. So you want to make sure that you're verifying. So for wire transfer, you're going to verify that the instructions, independently, of course, you want to make sure you verify with yourself. If the instructions arrive by like an email or a text, especially if they have changed unexpectedly, you want to contact the recipient. Just make sure that it is a trusted person that you're working with and verify everything, whether you do it over the phone or verbally, whichever is easiest for you. But just make sure you do your part to verify the source. Business email compromise, okay? A payment redirection scam, which is often involves a message and is going to claim that payment instructions have changed. The same message may appear to come from a real estate agent, right? So it could be a real estate agent, it could be a contractor, working on your home for any reason. It could be a title company, even an attorney or business contact. The safest response here is going to be to take a pause, right? Think about it, take a pause, and confirm that the change, through another channel. So, like if you have received that email, you may want to give the person that you've been speaking with a call and say, "Hey, I received this email. I just want to verify that this change is correct before, we send out this transfer," whatever the case is. You don't want to just base it off of the email that you see because, again, it could be some form of fraudulent scam. So do an additional layer of protection and maybe call as well and say, "Hey, I just want to verify that this change is correct." Um, okay. It is also going to be important for you guys to review the amount, right? So if you are sending someone $5,000 and you accidentally put an extra zero in there, I think you all know how hurtful that would be. I mean, if you have that in there, I mean, you never know. But again, one thing, a zero can make a huge impact, okay? You can easily go bankrupt there. I see a lot of laughing emojis. Okay. Any fees, and expected delivery time. Obviously, you want to verify all of these things before submitting your transfer. A faster transfer may cost more, so if you say you need to transfer it right away, it could be a little increase in that fee there. You just have to make sure you do your due diligence and verify. So while a lower cost transfer, it may take a little longer, but it still gets there. So you have to decide financially what's more responsible for you. Do you need it to get there faster and pay more, or are you okay with it getting there a little slower and paying a little less? You should also understand here whether the payment can be canceled. So, some transactions or some transfers may be stopped while they are still pending, right? But wire transfers and other completed payments may be more difficult or impossible to reverse. So, you might get lucky with like a bill payment or something like that, because that process may process a little differently, there's a way to probably cancel that payment of some sort. But if it's a direct transfer, again, you have to do your part because once that transfer is out, it's gone. So the larger or more urgent payments, the more important it is to slow down and just verify those details, you guys. Always double check. So choosing the right payments, now that we've kind of reviewed the main payment types, okay, the next question is how to choose the amongst all of these options, right? You have so many options that are available to you, and you could possibly get very overwhelmed by figuring out which works best for you. The best method often it depends on four different things. So we're going to cover them. So it's going to depend on like first, who are you paying, right? Who is this money going to? Why you are paying them. So what are you paying them for? Why? How quickly do they need the money, right? How quickly does the money need to arrive to whomever you're sending it to? And what protections are important for that specific transaction? So for everyday purchases, obviously a digital wallet may be a good fit because it allows you to use an eligible debit card or even a credit card without presenting the physical card. So it's very convenient. I use it myself. You just go for it. You still receive the actual terms, rewards, and protections that are associated with the card that you selected. Because remember, in your wallet, you have multiple options. You can have a lot of different variations of cards that you may have attached to your mobile wallet. So for sending money, okay, if you're sending money to a friend or you're sending money to maybe a close family member, the peer-to-peer or P2P app may be a little bit more convenient for you. These services usually work best when you know the recipient, you know who it is, you feel comfortable with them, right? You're not going to probably want to use this with a random person. This is something you want to send money to someone you know. So, a close family, close friend. Okay. Next, when you're going to decide to move money between like your own accounts, an account transfer is usually the more appropriate choice here. An internal transfer may move funds between accounts at the same institution, while an external transfer can connect accounts you own at different institutions. So keep that in mind. All right, then you have an ACH transfer, which are commonly used to, if you have like a routine transaction, obviously, such as a direct deposit, which most people have. Most people have a form of direct deposit, or if you have a reoccurring bill. So if you are familiar with that bill pay, most people have these forms of transfers that do occur. Now, again, they may take a little longer in some instances, but they're designed for your standard, bank to bank activity. So from payment to payment or transfer to money into your account or etc. Now, wire transfers, which is what we talk here lastly about, are generally reserved for larger or time-sensitive payments. So we kind of covered if you are sending money for, a down payment on a home, or you're closing on a home, or you have a large expense that you need to handle, you're going to want to utilize a wire transfer in this case, because they can involve fees, but you have to be mindful that it's much easier to usually send larger payments out via this way than doing, if you had a payment like a Zelle or something like that. Usually they have some type of restriction where you can't send a certain dollar amount. I don't know the exact amount. I want to say between 5 to 10,000 or so, but I'm not sure. But they usually have some type of restriction. So if you know it's a large amount, your wire transfer is going to be your best option. Obviously, they do have fees, like I stated, and could be very difficult to reverse. So you just have to make sure you have the proper instructions and you follow them to a T before you send out any transfers. So the main takeaway here is that no single payment method is going to be the best in every situation. So a tool that works well for splitting a dinner, or a bill at dinner or something like that may not be the best idea to use if you're going to be paying someone who you're unfamiliar with, doing like a Facebook market payment or something like that, or sending money for closing a home, right? You're not going to use those same things. So choosing the right tool is going to be one part of that decision. It is also important to understand what protections may apply if something goes wrong. Okay. So payment protections are not the same for every transaction. They may depend on how you get paid, how the transaction is funded, or even how it's authorized, how quickly you can report this problem, even providing terms and policies. So, an example of this would be if a purchase funded by a credit card may have different protections from a payment funded directly from your bank account. A debit card transaction or a peer-to-peer payment, or even ACH transfer or even a wire can also be handled very differently. Another important distinction here is that the difference between an unauthorized transaction and an authorized payment are made because of a scam, okay? An unauthorized transaction can occur when someone assesses your account or payment methods, or even send money without your permission. Has anyone ever experienced that? Someone sending money from their account to someone else without their permission? It does happen. An authorized payment usually can occur when you personally approve the transaction, even if a scammer has deceived or pressured you into doing so. Okay, the distinction can affect whether a payment can be disputed or even recovered. So timing here is always going to matter. So reporting an unfamiliar transaction or suspected fraud can quickly help limit additional activity and may preserve rights. That all depends on a prompt notice, right? So you have to make sure you notify your institution within a certain time. If you wait a year later and say, I think this was a scam, that kind of makes it much more harder to help you in this situation. Before using a new app or, any payment service, you always want to make sure you review its terms, review the fee schedule, any dispute process, and any cancellation rules, okay? It is especially important to know whether a payment can be stopped while pending, right? And what happens after the recipient accepts it? Because, like I told you guys before, there have been times when once they accept it, sometimes their bank can send it back, and sometimes they may say, hey, the person spent all the money or it's gone. There's nothing we can do. The safest approach is to not assume that every electronic payment comes with the same ability to reverse the transaction, because that's not always true. Because protections can vary, prevention is especially important here. So let's look at several different habits that can help reduce risk across nearly every digital payment method. So digital payment method security is always going to start with the device, of course, and the accounts that you use to access them. Use a strong device passcode, okay? And usually, depending on the account or depending on the app itself, sometimes they will give you a cool passcode that is pretty long that you can't remember. You can store it in some way and make sure that if you do use a passcode, it's not a passcode that you're obviously using for everything. I used to do that in the past. I stopped. But don't use your same code for everything. I will say that. Use a strong passcode or enable your fingerprint or facial recognition, like we talked about, which I like. Use any of those when it's available, and make sure that you turn on that multi-factor authentication for financial accounts and payment apps. These controls, it makes it harder for someone to gain access if a password or device is compromised in any way. So before paying, verify the recipient, the amount, and the purpose of the transaction. You don't want to rely on just a profile photo or a display name or even caller ID, okay? Or even those text messages. Those details can easily be copied or manipulated by a scammer, right? So you want to make sure that you do your part. Use a secure connection when accessing any financial accounts. Avoid making payments or signing into online banking over any public Wi-Fi. It's like whenever you're, say, Starbucks, or if you are at a nice coffee shop, make sure everything you do is protected when possible. A trusted cellular connection or secure private network is generally a better choice. Alerts can also provide an early warning. So how many of you have alerts? So if your card is being used in another country, for instance, and you're here, that's not you. You may get a pop-up on your phone. Those are going to be alerts that everyone should have. That way you can know what's happening in real time. You can have that set up with your account card transactions or any type of notifications. They all can help you recognize, obviously, those unfamiliar activities in real time. So keep devices and all of your apps updated. It's going to be another one. Make sure that you keep your apps and your devices updated. If you have, for me, I know with my computer, there's an update like every week. And so I'm working on updating every week, but I'm not that great at it. But, we're working on that. Your software updates often, include security patches, that address any newly identified vulnerabilities that may be out there that you may not be familiar with, but your computer may have an update that they want to make sure that you're covered and protected. It is also helpful here to prepare for any lost or stolen devices before it happens, okay? Know how to locate it, know how to lock it, or even erase phones remotely. And know how to contact your financial institution or your card issuer if access needs to be restricted. So if you can't get in and there's maybe a phone number you could call or another way to make sure that you can notify them. Finally, slow down. When a payment request creates a sense of urgency or some type of fear or even any type of pressure there, legitimate organizations generally allow you time to verify a request. So if someone is saying, hurry up and do this, or I only have a certain amount of time, that's usually a red flag. Do your part, make sure you over verify to make sure that you are speaking with a legitimate person. That pressure, to act quickly is common, and it's also a feature of many digital payment scams. So make sure that you guys are paying attention to that. So, as we speak on digital scams, digital payment scams can take many forms, as we all know, but they often rely on, some basic tactics that you've probably seen before. They may just show up in different ways, right? So the impersonation that you guys I know have seen in most scams, impersonate someone. Um, Fake fraud alerts, of course. You guys see here. Another one is going to be like urgency, fear, that request to send money before you have time to verify the story is real. All of these things, they usually have the same MO. They just find a different way to jazz it up a little bit for you. So a fake fraud alert, this can begin with a call or a message claiming, that there's suspicious something activity happening with your account. The scammer, they may tell you to move your money or send a payment or, provide some information, all behind the scam of they want to protect your account. Well, in reality, the instructions are designed to give, the scammer access or, cause you to authorize the transfer yourself. So you got to always make sure you are vigilant of those clues there. In an impersonation scam, I know a lot of you probably have heard of this before, someone obviously pretending to be a representation from a financial institution, some type of government agency, or even a utility company or business, um, or friend or something, obviously that sounds or seems more convincing, right? A purchase scam. This may involve a fake seller, a rental property. I've seen that a lot. Concert tickets, job opportunities. I mean, the scammer may insist on a payment, through Zelle or through something like that, or even a wire transfer, even gift cards. Has anyone seen the gift cards where, they have scammed money off of the gift cards? I mean, you name it, there's always something out there. Last but not least, you have these fake links here. QR codes are another growing concern here, okay? A fraudulent link or code may lead to more of a lookalike website that may ask for login credentials, right? So it could be a fake website. They may ask you for your card information or payments, a QR code, all these things that may seem legitimate that probably are not. So you want to always confirm where it came from before you open it. Scammers, they may also ask you to send money to yourself, move funds to what they call a safe account or complete a test transaction, right? They may say, let's just test this out. Those are major warning signs. When a request is unexpected, you always want to make sure that you take a moment, you pause, and contact the person or the organization using, a phone number or a website that you already know or trust. Not actually the contact information that the person may text you or provided you to call. Do your part and see if there's an alternative option, because if it is a scam, they probably have given you, a fake number or site or something like that. So, one of the most common ways scammers try to complete these schemes is by asking for what we call a verification code. How many of you heard of a verification code? If you haven't, they are pretty much nowadays sent everywhere just as an additional layer of protection. So a verification code may look like a simple string of numbers, but it can authorize something more important, right? So depending on the request, the code may approve a sign-in. It could be used for a password reset or even a payment transfer, or if you're logging into such as like a new device, right? That is why the code is intended only for you, right? It wants to make sure that you are the only person who is receiving this. So never read a verification code to someone who may call you on the phone or message you, even if the person claims to be from your financial institution, right? They may say, I'm calling from your financial institution. I need to hear your code. That usually does not happen. A payment app or even a government or fraud department, usually it doesn't happen. So don't forward or copy or screenshot it, and send it to someone else. Usually a scammer may say they need it to, verify your identity or cancel a transaction or even reverse some type of fraud. Usually in reality, they may be using it to complete an action that you did not intend to authorize. So read the message in full when it comes, which is usually the code. It often explains exactly what the code will approve of. And if the message says that, the code is for your password reset, or if you're signing into a new device, it usually lets you know. An unexpected code, it usually can mean that, someone is trying to access your account or your username or password, or, they may have something of yours. Do not provide the code out to anyone. Instead, you may have to change anything that's been compromised, right? So you will need to contact the organization or whomever it is, like if it's Facebook or something like that. And you may have to work through resetting all of your credentials so that way whomever's trying to access your information, they don't get access to it. A legitimate representative will not usually ask you to disclose a one-time verification code that is sent to you for your use. Now, there have been instances where if you call it an institution, they may send a code and ask, while you're on the phone with them for verification purposes. But, again, use your common sense, make sure that you are asking questions and being vigilant instead of, moving fast and giving away your information. So even when you take precautions, a payment mistake, an unauthorized transaction, or even a scam, all of these things can still happen, unfortunately. The most important thing here is when it happens, act quickly, okay? The first thing you're going to start by reporting the payment to the app or payment provider. Many services have a process for reporting fraud, disputing transactions, or requesting help with a payment sent to the wrong recipient. Recovery is not usually guaranteed, but reporting it properly gives the provider usually the best chance to review the transaction before the money moves further. Next, here, you're going to contact the financial institution or even the card issuer connected to that specific payment. You want to explain exactly what happened, when the payment has occurred, or how it was funded, or whether you personally even approved it. Those details can affect the steps available to you. If there are any chance that your login information or your card details or even device has been compromised, secure the account right away. So what does that mean? That means you're going to change your passwords. You're going to sign out of any unfamiliar devices. You're going to update your security settings, and you're probably going to need to now start all over. So you're going to use a new and unique password, and refuse or not use the same one that you used before. Obviously, you want to make sure it's something totally different. Review any of your other accounts for any other unfamiliar activities. So at this time, you want to think what else could be compromised. I want to verify all of my accounts or verify all of my other login credentials, make sure nothing else has been compromised. A scammer here who obtains one password or even a piece of your financial information, they may try to use it elsewhere. So continue to monitor, even if nothing seems a little off at that time. continue to monitor usually for at least 6 months or so. Make sure that everything still is operating the same and nothing seems a little fishy or scammy. You want to make sure that you keep your records of what happened, including like any text messages or receipts or even any username or phone numbers, anything affiliated with that particular transaction. Those details may be very helpful for reporting any incidents. The exact outcome will obviously depend on the payment method and circumstances, but delaying can make a recovery more difficult. So again, as soon as you see something, say something. Here at USFCU, we also offer tools that, can help our members manage digital payments and monitor your accounts more closely, right? So here with our members, if you are not a member, and I will hope that everyone on the line is a member, but if not, it's okay. Our members have access to several different tools, that can help both convenience and account security. So those who are eligible for our USFCU Visa, debit card, or even our credit cards can be added to any compatible wallets, of course, you just like any other institution. This is going to allow our members to make purchases using a supported phone, such as a smartphone or Apple phone, or even if you have an Android, it's totally fine, or any other device while you continue to use your USFCU card as the funding source. So through your USFCU online and mobile banking, our members here can also move money between, different eligible accounts and linked external accounts as well. So before sending out any external transfers, we always ask our members to review the destination account and the expected process time carefully, okay? Account and card alerts, they're going to help our members stay informed about any activity. Just make sure that we're keeping our members informed and up to date in real time. So depending on the settings selected, alerts may notify you about any transactions or any balances, deposits, withdrawals, or other account events. These notifications are going to help you recognize any unfamiliar activities in real time and sooner. Card controls. These card controls are going to allow you as a member to lock or even unlock your eligible card whenever it's needed, right? So if you are traveling and you misplace your card and you think you lost it, but you're not sure, which happens a lot, you misplace it, you can always lock the card. And once you find it, unlock it again. It's just an additional layer of precaution. Secure messaging with our members. USFCU provides, we provide our members with a protected way to contact us with any questions or concerns related to an account. So it's going to be a safer way to send anything that is sensitive or account information, instead of using obviously just a standard email or something like that. We have something that allows our members to do secure messaging, which is awesome. So here we also have a YouTube channel that includes short tutorials that covers mobile banking, payments and transfers, alerts, and even account tools and security features. These videos provide our members with step-by-step guidance for common digital banking tasks. So topics like this may include linking your external accounts. So if you have questions about how to do this, you can check out and scan actually this QR code here. You can scan that and it kind of shows you how to access those, how to make transfers, how to use our bill pay, all the fun stuff that come with our mobile banking. The tutorials are usually useful when you are setting up a new feature for the first time, or you just kind of need a quick refresher, right? You're like, I haven't done this in a while. I don't want to remember how to do it. Because they are short, it allows you to focus on just that one task. So if you need to get in and remember how to do bill pay real quick, you can go right here and it will help you. You can go directly to that specific topic. So, yes, if you have questions about that QR code right here on the screen, you can easily scan and check that out. It's very easy and accessible. So before you complete a digital payment here, you guys, I want to take a moment to run through this quick checklist with you guys. Are you guys ready? First, am I using the right payment method? So always ask yourself that. The best option is always it's going to depend on your, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, right? So whether you're making a purchase or you're going to pay a friend or transfer money between your accounts, you always want to ask yourself that question. Am I making the right payment method? Second, have I verified the recipient? So before you send them the money, you want to always verify that this is the right person, right? Double check their name. You're going to double check their phone number, double check their email address, double check their username or and account information before you hit send. Always make sure that you are double checking that you have verified who the recipient is. Third, is everything correct? So almost like do an additional reset and refiguration of what you're doing here. Make sure that everything makes sense. Take one last look at the amount. Take a last look at the funding source and any fees that may come along with that as well. Or in even your delivery time. So if you needed to get there tomorrow, are you going to do a transfer that may take 4 or 5 days, or are you going to do something that's going to get you there sooner? Make sure that it makes sense for you. And finally, what protections apply? Okay, what protections apply? Different payment methods offer different protections, so it is worth knowing what to expect if someone goes or something goes wrong. It only takes a few seconds, but those few seconds can help prevent an expensive mistake. You want to make sure that you are doing your due diligence, okay, before you tap send or pay. So, in conclusion, thank you all so much for this amazing presentation. Thank you for joining and learning more about digital wallets and payments. If you have any questions or need any more information, you can check us out on our website. You can also, like I stated earlier, send a secure message through our online and mobile banking apps, or you can simply give us a call, either or. But yes. Thank you so much. And I am going to hand it over to our wonderful MC. Oh, nope, I'm not going to hand it over to MC. I'm going to hand it over to Andrea because now we're going to open it up for any questions, any Q&As.
Hi, thank you, Jornika. That was a great
Hi.
presentation. So the first question is it safe to donate to a charity through PayPal? And if it is, how is it done? Does the charity have a special number or code or etc.?
Usually you would have to contact the charity, whoever you are sending money to. Most of the times they have instructions on how to send money to them, and make sure that you're doing it the correct way. Usually if it's a wire or if it's a PayPal, they may have a specific way to send it, but you will have to contact the charity event itself. But that is something you want to keep for your records also, if you are sending any money to any charities.
Thank you. And our next question is why didn't you mention Zelle?
Um, well, currently we do not offer Zelle here at the credit union, but other institutions that do offer Zelle, and I mentioned Zelle a few times. Zelle is going to be one of those peer-to-peer transfer options as well. So Zelle is a very popular form of transfers. It is a little risky because there's a lot of scams out there with Zelle also. So that's another one that you have to be cautious about when you're sending your money out.
And this next one is a comment. As a precaution, I generally send $1 first to the recipient, and if they receive it, I send the rest of the balance. And
Great job.
the next one is, are external transfers difficult or impossible to reverse similar to a wire transfer, or are they different in this respect?
It depends on the external transfers itself. If it's something like a bill payment, that is possible to get back sometimes. It really just depends. who you're paying, but usually external transfers to an individual can be hard to get back because once that money's gone, unfortunately.
Thank you. And are the fees for different P2P apps comparable?
I think in most sense they vary. Sometimes it could depend on the app itself or the dollar amount. You will just have to kind of see which app you're using and read the disclosures there to see what the fees are.
Next one, are the Senate Federal Credit Union webinars available on our website? And where are they located? This question is usually for Carrie, but I'll answer it. So yes, they're available on our website and our YouTube channel, which you could find in our website if you could search up
I would say they're mainly on our webs or on YouTube. Go to
YouTube.
YouTube because the way the web page houses them, they're such big files, it's hard. So I'm going to throw the YouTube channel link in the chat and maybe you could follow us or subscribe to.
And
Yes, follow us.
Like and subscribe, everybody.
like and subscribe and share. The next question is there a transfer fee with USFCU to other banks?
Great question, Milton. Is there actual transfer fee?
When you connect your account to your online banking for external transfer, there's zero fee. So
Zero.
yes, it's free 99, like Eddie likes to say.
This one kind of goes with another question that was answered. Why didn't we answer or talk about Zelle? Does the credit union now accept Zelle or is it still pending?
Still
Oh,
pending.
yeah, I'll say I'll take that one. So yes, we hear you. That's one of the requests that we get asked often, and I will tell you all. And I'm pretty sure for some that follow the credit union, we recently did a press release. We are updating our core banking system, and then we are very excited because this new core banking that we're going to be using support sale, and that is something that I know a lot of our members ask about it, and that is something that we want to let you all know that we hear your concerns. We want our members want us to provide sale, but we just want to make sure, like Janika stated early, sale is one of those amazing tools out there that you can send payments to anyone and it's done immediately. But again, what happens is if it gets to the wrong into the wrong hands or somebody hacks you, it is almost impossible to get your money back. So again, we want to make sure that we have all the right tools, the right technology here at the credit union in order for us to feel comfortable, and so that our members have that peace of mind. So that again, we are working on that. Should be something that will make a big announcement, I'm pretty sure. And again, as I stated at the beginning of this webinar, we have the most amazing marketing team. So when that happens, you better believe that there will be some communication going out to all of our members here at the credit union. But yes, we hear you and we are working on it. Just it's going to take a little more for us to fully be ready and be able to offer it to all of our members. But great question.
Our next question is, what is text to give? Is it secure?
Yes, I'll take that one as well too. And text to donate, I believe that's what they're asking for, and that is secure. A lot of nonprofits use that. I know Red Cross, just to name a few, they use that. I also sit in the board of a nonprofit myself, of a local nonprofit here in the Washington D.C. area, and we do have that option available to anyone that would like to make donations. Normally, what you will do is you will send a text message to the particular number with the amount that you want to donate, and it goes through. Obviously, you have to make sure that your bank account is linked to your phone, and to your phone account, and then that's how the payment will go out. But yes, absolutely, it is legitimate and it's safe to do so.
And the next one is, I want to set up an external transfer from my credit union account to an outside bank and vice versa. Who can I call for help to set that up?
1-800-374-2720. Sorry, Jonica, you moved my screen here.
Sorry.
1-800-374-2758. I was almost there. Jeez.
Why do
No,
you not
Uh,
have that
I thought it was.
memorized?
I know, right? And I say that all the times. But you know what? I even forget my own numbers from time to time. So, but 1-800-374-2758, option seven, and you can say either one from my teammates here, either Jernica Trent, or Kim Freely, or my name, and then we'll be more than happy to set you up. It's pretty easy. Normally, once you go into your online banking, add external account, we will send two small transactions to the other financial institution. All you have to do is verify the amounts with us. Once you verify the amounts, I'm sorry, that's all it takes. And then within 24 hours to 48, you will be able to see your account and be able to transfer money from bank to bank without any fee. So it's completely free to do that. So, but yeah, give us a call. We'd love to assist you with that.
And if you would like to also do a little tutorial here, you can scan this QR code and check out the YouTube on how to set up your bill pay as well.
And I think this is our last question, which I think we answered, but I could be wrong. Is there a wire fee for money sent to an external account, a bank account? I have.
Yes.
Yes. So, Gary, you go ahead, Johnny. You take.
Yeah, I believe it's a 35 or $25 fee. I don't have the exact amount,
Uh,
but there's a
Yeah,
fee.
so it depends. If the wire is going domestically, so within the U.S., there's a fee for that. Also, if you do want to send it internationally, there's also a fee for that, and it's going to be a little more for international wires. But yeah, wire transfers is something that will have a fee to it associated with it, and that is for most. I would say 99% of the financial institution will charge you a fee for wire transfers. And the reason why there's a fee is because normally wire transfers it will be used whenever you're sending large amounts. Typically, Zelle allows you to send money, and depending on the history that you have with them, they will set a limit or a cap. Um, and um, and if you are sending large amounts, then it is recommended that you send a wire, especially if you're doing like transaction like such as real estate, those type of transactions. It is recommended that you do it via wire, and if you do that again, it's the money goes in right away. Normally, it takes about less than an hour. The most is going to be two if it's domestically. International wires will typically take a little longer depending on the processing bank, and if there's also an intermediate bank, which for international banks, that tends to be the case from time to time. But great question, though.
And also, Milton, can you address this one comment in there just to keep it clear? It states USSFCU sends a code and they ask you to repeat it back for verification. That isn't not
Yeah,
never.
no, we never do that. If you ever receive a code for your two-factor authentication, and that code is typically is for you to enter it into your app or the website that you're using, that you log in into your any of your accounts. But a representative from the credit union will never call you or ask you for that code. So please, if that happens, if somebody is asking you to verify the code that you received to your phone, hang up. Do not answer those calls. Block those numbers, and call us directly, 800-374-2758, if that is something that has happened to you, because most likely it's somebody trying to commit fraud on your behalf. So please, never share any security codes that are sent to your text message.
And I believe those are all the questions.
Milton, can you talk to Mr. Stan too before?
Yeah, so for those that have been with us for a long time, you may be familiar with him. I always like to say that he's almost another external partner of the panelist team here, and that is Mr. Stan, who joined us from the West Coast. He's over in California, if I'm not mistaken. But Mr. Stan, please correct me if I'm wrong. He is a cybersecurity expert, and he oftentimes likes to provide some of his expertise and share some of the knowledge with us here at the webinar. So, Mr. Stan, if you can hear me, are you unmuted?
Can you hear me? Can
Yes,
you hear me
sir. We can
okay?
hear you now.
Okay. Well, as usual, guys always do an excellent seminar, and Jarnika was a great presentation. Even then, I learned a lot of stuff because there's a lot of things I don't use often, but it kind of reminds me, and I usually have my son sitting here watching and learning stuff too, so it's not always for me. But again, you guys covered a lot of information today. I would just kind of add a few things to it just from my own personal experience. So obviously, you guys talked a lot about the external transfers, and that's very important because obviously, if you have different accounts elsewhere, you want to move money back and forth. Um, they usually have two types of things. You can do the trial deposits, which usually takes 2 days, where you link it up with the other bank's routing number and account number, and usually a couple of days later, you'll see some deposits put in under $1, and then they'll pull back out. But then what you do is you take those numbers and you add it to the USFC, and all of a sudden you've got the accounts linked up. For those, sometimes too, if you're coming from another bank to other banks too, there's two instant verification platforms. One's called Yodlee and the other one's Plaid. Those sometimes can link you up instantly if you answer all the right credentials, meaning the username, because you're actually going to log into the other external bank from where you're trying to add one with the username, password, and they'll even send you a verification code, three things to make sure that you really own that account. Because one, you have to be able to log in with the username, password, and you have to have the code that's just sent immediately to your mobile device. Something that I'm seeing lately now too, I think like all places, they're trying to cut costs. Some places are now, instead of texting you the verification code, which normally on your iPhone, you click on it and it'll populate it in. I just set up one the other day. It's now sending your verification code to email because they don't have to subscribe for a service. Email is free, so it's an extra step. Might take a little longer. You got to have your email open to find that code, go back to the bank and put in that verification code. So that's something I'm seeing more and more, maybe because they're cutting costs down. But I know a lot of them share the same service because I have all these verification codes from multiple places. So I know there's a handful out there. The other newest thing that I'm seeing now too for security is it's been around for about a year now. Is if you any of you have a brokerage account, like I have one with Schwab or Fidelity, they're now using voice recognition, no longer using facial recognition, any of that, because they don't know what it is. But when you set up the account, they record your voice and they know your voice. If your voice doesn't match up, which is probably even a more secure way, that will also prevent people from getting on. Another thing that banks have added, not all of them, but they're asking too, do you want to be notified every time you log on? I choose to select every time I log on. Even though I know I'm logging on, it'll send me an email say, hey, you logged on at this such and such a time. And that tells me, yeah, I did log on that time. So if there's a time that you didn't log on and you get an email, you better immediately call the fraud department. Someone's trying to log into your account. So if you get the option to say, show me every time I log in, send an email, just do it. The more notifications and alerts you get, the more prepared you're ready for those kind of things. Um, so those are just some of the basic things. The other thing too that you guys talked a lot about were wire transfers. Being that I'm on the West Coast, I have to be very careful about cutoff times because everything is based on East Coast time. So when they tell me the cutoff time is 1 o'clock, I know it's 4 o'clock East Coast time. So if you're on the West Coast, be mindful to plan accordingly. So if you need the funds to get there a certain day, if you're on the West Coast, don't take it casual because if you think about it 2 or 3 in the afternoon, it's the next day. And if you need those funds there that day, plan accordingly, like I said. So just keep that in mind, the cutoff time on wherever you're at, whether you're on the East Coast or West Coast, because those are very important if you need to get your funds out time.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I try to remember those things. So those are just some of the basic things that you can do to protect yourself. Like I said, oh yeah, there's another new scam I just saw that came out last week on the FBI. I haven't quite looked into it, not but they're saying the FBI is reporting if you have the option in your mobile phone to remember your username, which a lot of people do use, even I was using it, and I'm trying to figure a workaround. They're saying if you store that, sometimes people can actually go to a malicious website and it actually captures that username and it will even cache your password. So the FBI is trying to remind people, try not to use save username. I'm not fully figured that out yet because you need to save the username in order to use Face ID sometimes. Some apps probably don't need the username, but a lot of them need your username saved. So they're just saying right now, I saw this in two news reports over the last 2 weeks, saying they're reporting don't save username. Just put it in manually from your password manager, your username, and your password each time to log on. So those are a few things that I just wanted to point out that I kind of picked up along the way that you guys covered 99% of the stuff, but I just kind of wanted to add the things that you may not be aware of or options. One other thing too, some banks will allow this you to do too. If they allow you to set up your own security question, do that. Because when I call in my bank every time, they ask me that intentionally, what is your username or your secret word? And if they let you create one, create one. You could pick it as simple as what is the color inside of my SUV, or what is my dog's tag color. Only you know that because you're not writing it down. So if they let you use as many security things as you can because it'll help secure your accounts. Especially with AI these days, you have to be extra careful. Sorry if I took up more time I wanted to, but I just want to pass off a few tips.
No, truly appreciate your expertise, and as always, we truly thank you. And again, thank you. We hadn't seen you in quite some time, but we're so glad you're back. And like I stated at the beginning when I was introducing you, we always feel like you are another part of this panelist team, especially when it comes to a subject such as this. So thank you so much, Mr. Stan. And that is something that I know, Carrie, whenever we do presentations around this topic. We love pulling data from the FBI or the different sources, federal sources, and thank you for bringing that up. The latest one from the FBI, we'll definitely look into it. But again, thank you so much. One thing I did wanted to add, I know to a comment that Mr. Stan made, and that is that be mindful of the time zones. Because especially I know wires was one of the questions that was asked. We do have a cutoff time, and it is an Eastern time zone. So if you're in the West Coast, and you need a wire to go out, make sure that you call us as soon as you get up in the West Coast. I know normally that would be for you probably 9 a.m. But if you wake up at 6 a.m., you better believe we're already open. So our contact center opens at 8:30 Eastern time. So that is 5:30 in the West Coast. And we do have a cutoff time for wires, and that is going to be 2 p.m. So for you in the West Coast, that's going to be unfortunately 11 a.m. if you want the wire to go out the same date. Or if not, it's going to go out the following day. But great points, Mr. Stan. As always, I truly appreciate your expertise. With that being said, I know this is probably one of the longest webinars that we ran into, and we truly appreciate everyone. I know we still have a lot of people that are still tuning in. So thank you. I'll be remiss if I didn't invite you all to come and see us again next week, which is the topic that we have for you all, especially now that we're getting into the school season again, right? I know it's August is almost here, so a lot of kids are going back to school. So if you have a rising senior or juniors, I'm sure that college is one of the things that is already in your mind. And if so, do you know how you're going to pay for it? If you're not sure, please join us next week. We're going to talk about paying for college, understanding all your options, what it takes, what to do. We're going to provide you with all the tools and resources that you need so that you have that transition from going from high school into college and having that roadmap that is so necessary nowadays. So please join us next week. It's going to be at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you all again for joining us. I don't have anything else from my end, but I definitely will ask Mr. Villanueva to bring us home. And thank you all again.
Just want to say thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for the amazing engagement that we had this evening. We love all the questions and the attendees learned something new. I'm sure each one of us in the panelists team will learn something new as well. We will see you next week in the same channel, same time. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for your support.